Dude, I would maybe ask you who your favorite wrestler is, but I got eyes. What's with all the Hitman love today? What is it, his birthday, or are you just celebrating Canada?
I'm celebrating Canada. It's Canada's favorite son.
Yeah.
10 times over. Former world champion of pro wrestling, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Canada's favorite, yeah, him, Wayne Gretzky, George St. Pierre, all have been voted Canada's favorite athlete. But you know, there's another thing Canadians like to vote on, and that's their favorite beer. And we're not too far from Canada.
We're not.
I was a little more west growing up, so I got there frequently, but I'm sure it was nothing for the Wiesner fam to get in the station wagon and go up to Niagara Falls once in a while.
We've been there.
It's not a far trip. So
true.
What we're going to do is we've broken into the bar early because there's something called liquor laws, and they don't want to serve us beers at 6 o'clock in the morning. But we're going to Canada today. We need to get a little booze, and then we got to sober up. So, of course, as always, he's Aaron. I'm Murph, and this is
The Bar with Bret Hart.
So, bro, Canadians sort of, they have this national identity. They're very proud to be Canadian, which is cool. You know, we're proud to be American. We like going up there and visiting, though. There's things they take very seriously. You already mentioned the Hitman. There's hockey. There's great maple syrup. But what do you think of oftentimes with Canadians as far as something of huge national pride?
Beer.
Beer, of course. And there's famous Canadian brands, but you may be surprised. We found a survey done by Global, which is sort of one of their big news organizations, like what would be CNN and that. And there's definitely some famous Canadian beers in the top 4, but you may be surprised by number 1. You may even be more surprised by number 2. So without any further ado, I grant you from our Cooler of Doom.
The Cooler of Doom.
Bum, bum, bum! Labatt Blue!
Woohoo!
John Labatt and all that good Canadian beer. We've been drinking it for years. If you go to Bills or Sabres games in Buffalo, you wind up with a Labatt Blue. And it's over the years made its way even down to South Carolina.
Yeah, but up here in Elmira, New York area, Southern Tier, many people love Labatt Blue.
And this, honestly, as far as I'm going to have a volume day of drinking, like if I'm going to have time with friends, or like if I'm going to watch a fight or whatnot, I'll more often than not hang with the Labatt Blue. So I don't know, I think we got to give this a taste. This is your number 4 most popular beer.
This isn't Four Horsemen.
No, it's not.
4.
It's number 4, and we'll be on to number 3. This is Canada's number 4 favorite beer. So let's see what's so great about it.
Number 4 in the Canada.
For life. Canada for life. So
I got a couple of glasses for us.
All right, I like the sound of that.
Technically the bar's not open and we're here.
We don't want...
I stole a key.
Hey, you got the house key, right?
Hey.
We don't need Gerard or Suzette or any of them.
Easy with that head. I know you were getting better at it, but you got a little excited right there.
There
we go.
I haven't had my coffee, let alone my beer.
Now look at this, everybody. You see this golden amber right here, light head, unless you're
me, you got this.
But look at it. I mean, it was a good pour. It's got some fizz to it, which is good. Smell test.
It's a nice, good old-fashioned Canadian Pilsner ale.
Yeah, it's got a good aroma.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of the first keg I ever bought. I was 12. We'll not get into that story.
You didn't look 12, folks. Now, with the Labatt's, it's smooth. It's got a crispness to it that rolls off your tongue, which is always good. And this is good for when a nice hot day.
Yeah.
Summers in Canada, I got to assume it's probably like 60 degrees there in the summer.
Great White North, take off.
But down here, the Southern Tier, it gets pretty hot sometimes. I mean, we've had some lulls.
Oh, yeah. We keep getting these 2-day pockets of humidity. It's crazy. But if you got some cold Labatt Blue and a good cooler, you can get through. And I honestly like to eat this with chicken sandwiches. That's my favorite thing to have with a Labatt Blue. Dude, it just goes so good with a chicken sandwich for some reason.
Try that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say don't drink it with a hot dog. I mean, you can still go that route, but...
And we do have hockey here in Elmira.
The Elmira Jackals.
The Jackals, and they serve Labatt.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all in the family with the Sabres too. You go from Elmira to Rochester to Buffalo, they got the loop, so that's pretty sweet.
That's right.
But anyways, more hockey talk to come for sure. We'll get that out of the way.
What's number 3?
Number 3, again, not surprising at its core.
Dun 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 dun.
It's really Canadian because it's a Molson Canadian.
Oh, it's Molson,
the official imported beer of the NHL. Again, to bring it all back. But Molson had recently, in the last 10 years, last 5 years, they'd merged with Coors out of Colorado.
What?
Yeah, believe it or not. So
I know Colorado's fairly close to the Canadian border. I mean, it's a few states away.
Yeah,
it's still winterish.
Well, and I guess you just get on the Rockies and you ride the train down there from there to there. But yeah, Molson Canadian. I've had this. It's not my go-to beer by any means, and I couldn't tell you the last time I had one. But I like that they have all three. They have the bière, which is B-I-E-R-E. With that little umflat. They got lager and then they got beer. So whatever country you're in, you know what you're drinking.
As it should be.
Have you ever been much of a fan of? And I'm not saying we're not fans. I just I can't say I'll ever be at a bar unless it's a special and be like, give me a Molson Canadian.
Well, if you walk into a Canadian, like a Canadian bar, like the Hoser Hut, you better order something Canadian because they're gonna kick your butt out.
That's it.
Especially a Molson.
You don't want to play around, but that's an attractive can. It's got the nice maple leaf Molson Canadian alternating colors. So let's give it a whirl here. We'll go dirty glass style again. We don't want Gerard. We don't want to leave him a tip in the growler.
But that's a nice pour. It's a lighter color than the Labatt, at least when you pour it. But then you get back into it, and you've got this beautiful golden color. Good head. Nice job there,
yes,
sir.
Absolutely.
All right, but that beautiful golden color, what's it smell like, Murph?
It has a bit more of a subdued but strong scent. You know? It is a lager.
Now, what is this percentage here? This is a pint can that we've got here today.
If I had to guess, I'd say 5.5. Let me.
Yeah, it doesn't really specify. It's a little hard to read, but it's okay. Yeah. But it's your average.
Yeah.
Lager.
Yeah, they'll do the trick. Yeah. So let's give it a whirl.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's a little more full flavored.
Yeah, I actually find that smoother than the Labatt. Not as crisp, but definitely full flavored. Very very easy to drink. Another hot day one, man. I mean, these Canadians, they know their beer.
I'd like to take this one fishing, where the food's maybe a little more scarce. You fill up on the beer.
And then catch your own fish.
Yeah, and then
it's trout.
If it's I was gonna just do an old limerick there, but I'm
gonna
something about trout and getting out. But I guess this isn't a kids show, but we'll still keep it clean for the ladies in the audience. But
you keep it clean for the hitman.
Hey, I know I'll abide. I know Brett's all about integrity and values. So
that's right.
Yeah, well, hey, rock and roll, Molson Canadian.
No, very good, very good. I've had the Molson
Golden.
The Golden.
Yeah.
And it's like Canadian moonshine sometimes.
Yeah.
Trio was it Trio they used to have?
Yeah.
It was a while back.
Yeah.
But that was pretty strong stuff.
Yeah. It's good. It's another one. I could see myself having a bunch of these at a Bills game or a Sabres game and just enjoying my afternoon. So
number 3,
two
Molson.
Distinctly Canadian beers at 4 and 3. But
so what's 2?
Number 2 may surprise you.
Oh.
It's one that you may have had a lot of in your days because it's married to the beer that we just gave you, but it's not a Canadian classic. It's Coors Light.
Coors Light?
Coors Light is, I guess it's arguably Canada's favorite light beer, but it's their second favorite beer overall. Born in the Rockies, but again, these are dual brands. I mean, there's been a lot of teaming up in the beer business, InBev, Budweiser. It's crazy. So yeah, you got Coors Light, and I was just up in Toronto recently. Sorry, I went without you. You were still sleeping.
It's all right.
But we got up there, and there was a lot of signs for this, and there was a lot of signs for number 1, and I was quite shocked. But then I remembered, so they either did a good job marketing it, and people got on board, or it's got the taste that can't be beat. But number 2, ahead of Labatt Blue and Molson Canadian, it's Coors Light as far as Canada's most purchased beer. So I know we've had it before. I believe this is your favorite beer.
Is it cheaper in Canada? I mean, did something happen with the exchange rate and everything?
That's a great question. That might be it. Yeah, it might just be like they're like, it'll get you through.
I know. We went through a recession a while back. Did Canada?
I don't know. It's weird because again,
I'm just shocked. I'm sorry.
They're super nationalistic people, and hey,
I'll pour this one.
To love an American beer, that's cool because like I said, my favorite as a proud American, a Western New Yorker, is Labatt Blue. So I'm glad they're down with our most famous our most famous and number one also in the study is Bud Light, but I know a lot of people that won't turn down a Coors Light, especially Brock Lesnar, now a Canadian. He said at one time he'd take a Coors Light and got in trouble with the sponsors. So
now speaking of Brock Lesnar, let's finish this first. Another golden color, very nice, I like it.
Cold filtered, that's always been the thing with Coors Light. It's got to
be cold. If you drink this semi-warm, get another. This absolutely has to be cold, and the can usually tells you.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't a mountain can, but they do have the blue mountain cans. This is 4.2% alcohol by volume, so hey, it's right near where it needs to be to give you a little buzz. Let's see.
And it's always smooth. Coors Light has been always smooth. For those of you that don't want a heavy beer, this is one you're probably gonna like. It's very light.
Yeah,
and that's the whole point of it. But back to Brock Lesnar. Did you see his fight? Welcome back to the UFC, Brock Lesnar. Great fight against Hunt.
Mark Hunt, representing Canada.
Did you see his face afterwards?
But Lesnar got a good shot. Hunt got his eyes swollen shut, but Hunt had half his face all beat to heck. So.
Oh yeah, no, it was a good fight. It was a great comeback for Brock. Yep. I'm happy that he's healthy and that he fought well. Yeah. I mean, everybody thought that it was going to be a one-sided fight where either one or the other got knocked out or submitted, and it went to decision.
But, even if it was a one-off, he got that win at the end, but I'd like to see a little more Brock Lesnar. I just remember him saying with a big Bud Light in the middle of the octagon that he was going to go have a Coors Light, and I think he got his hand slapped a little bit because he came out in the post-fight press conference of that mirror fight drinking a Coors Light. So
he's Brock Lesnar. He's a badass white boy, right?
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Another Canadian drinking the Coors Light, so...
But Brock, great fight. I was very impressed. A lot of great fights on that card. If you didn't see UFC 200, I recommend it. Yeah,
it was a good time was had by all. And you know what else is a good time? When you get to number one on a countdown. And I listen, folks, we got the tall boys for this episode because a lot of times we'll work with bottles. As you can see, in order of favor, 4, 3, 2. Don't take offense to this can of Bud, Canada. I mean, it's your fault for loving it so much.
3, 2, separate.
Number one is Budweiser.
Budweiser?
In the traditional red, white, and blue Lady Liberty New York can, one specialty, it's a 25-ouncer. So you got that working for you.
That's amazing.
That Budweiser is Canada's, and I was thinking about it hard. I'm like, well, maybe Bud got in there years ago and made inroads or whatnot, but no, I just, it's taken over, and Bud's a pretty easy drinker. I mean, all my life, I remember being a little kid, and a lot of the adults in my life would have a Bud t-shirt and a Marlboro hat. They'd smoke a Marlboro and have a Bud, and I'm no way condoning smoking and drinking modest portions, but yeah, Budweiser is Canada's favorite beer. That was actually 13%, just edging out Coors Light at 12%. 13% as far as sales.
Oh, so Coors is running right up.
It's a close second, but it's two American beers, and I'm not in the business of beer shaming Canada. I mean, hey, if you love these beers, that's great because we love them down here too. But it's almost a formality as far as tasting a Bud. We've all tasted a Bud, but let's.
I will say this: our neighbors to the north, Canada, give me a flag.
Get that little flag going.
Neighbors to the north, Canada. We love you.
Our home and native land.
That's right.
You know how much? Well, not our home and native. That's how the song goes.
But they're not far off. I mean, they're our closest neighbor that we have, other than Mexico, down south.
Well, in Canada...
And don't get me wrong, Mexico, we love tequila.
Oh, yeah. Tequila and Corona, they're both good on a hot summer sticky night.
That's right.
But, whoa.
Man, that beer's coming back up.
Got a rumbler tumbler going, but, yeah, man, Canada loves Bud, and we love Canada, and we celebrate you, Canada. In fact, that's it. There we go. You can just pretend we're talking Canadian flights. We have not yet tasted our Bud, but know that this is the beginning of our Canada week. Coming Wednesday and Saturday, there will be Canadian treats and a little surprise after that. So Eat the World Canada edition after the Bar Canada edition. We're celebrating Canada all week long, and this is a nice kickoff. But let's get a little, just for the sake of folks that have never heard how good a Budweiser is.
Now, Budweiser is my family's go-to. I will say that. They've always gone to that.
Oh, man.
And, you know, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong, and I got a lot of friends that like Bud Light. Now, again, nice golden colors. So you've got 4 great golden light colors here. Good head. Yeah, absolutely. Good head. Aroma, a little stronger.
Yeah.
Definitely stronger than the Coors.
And this is a little more bang for your buck, 5% alcohol over the 4.2 of the Coors Light. But yeah, it's an American classic. I've had it at car races, I've had it at picnics, I've had it at wakes. It's just one of those beers that you can find in every store in America that sells beer, and apparently in all the beer stores in Canada. You know that you can't just buy, it's much like Pittsburgh, I know we've discussed that before. Canada has beer stores in the LCBO, which is the Board of something of Ontario, which is where we're most close to. Yeah, if you want to buy beer in Canada, you got to go to the beer store.
I don't think it's just beer; it's alcohol in general.
Alcohol in general.
Up by Niagara, I can tell you just before the Niagara border, there is a grocery store of beer. A liquor store. And it's as big as your local grocery store, folks. I mean, and you can get anything there. Yeah,
I think it's probably that chain, the beer store. They do a nice job. Every time I go up, I'll stop and grab a sixer there. But yeah, nice fizziness, nice color. So
it's got a good taste. It's got a good taste. A little stronger than the Coors, like I said, but nothing wrong with Budweiser. And if you're worried about calories, go to Bud Light.
Yeah.
But Canada's not worried about calories. They need to pack them on before the winter because, you know, they're sitting around in the cold.
The only thing keeping them warm otherwise is down blankets and those sexy Canadian beavers. Wait a minute. Yeah, ice hockey.
Beaver pelts.
Beaver pelts.
That's
beaver pelts.
You missed the last word.
That's
pelts.
I've been drinking too much good beer. But, yeah, Budweiser, no questions asked. Bud Light, again, is our country's #1 selling beer. So I guess we're just a little more health conscious. But you don't have to be health conscious when you're on the internet talking to your friends on social media.
Yeah, that's true. You can email us at the kenmurphdothis@gmail if you want a sticker.
Absolutely. And then hit us on all the local social medias, all your faves. Facebook.com, KenMurphDoThis, at KenMurphDoThis on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to share, like, tell your friends, leave some suggestions like our friend Tim, who in 2 weeks we're going to be We're going to be finding some beers and some drinks for the ladies, those that aren't so inclined with the ladies.
That's true. For the guys that don't know what to get before, a date, if you're going to make a dinner for a lovely lady and you need something to pair it with, we're gonna help you out with that in the next episode in 2 weeks. So feel free to watch us.
Absolutely. You can watch all the videos in the bar playlist. Don't forget, it's a time hole. You get in there and it'll be 2 hours later, you'll have a bunch of good beer knowledge and opinions. And Canada, hey, it's groovy, man. You know, we love that you love our beers as well as your beers. And hey, like I said, my go-to whenever I'm watching a Bret Hart DVD or I'm watching a Sabres game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, I go for the Labatt Blue. So it's all good between us.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. You know who else we love?
Who?
Petey Williams.
Petey Williams.
We're wrestling fans,
the Canadian
folks.
Destroyer.
Yeah, that man, he's a great wrestler, and his finishing maneuver, the Canadian Destroyer, I cannot even tell you what it compares to. It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. And it's like we were, like a month and a half ago watching some great Maple Leaf classics on WWE Network.
That's true.
We were watching...
how much did you pay for that?
$9.99.
This is not a legit plug. This is just us.
It's just what we pay for that. We don't pay any more than that for the WWE Network, a pizza, or a wife sent from Lithuania.
Oh!
$9.99. That's all we're paying. So, all right, my brother. Well, hey, we got to get sobered up. We got to eat some maple syrup and get on the road to Canada. But as always, if you're looking for us and we're not near and we're not far, you might just find us
at the bar.